Hey, so I am going to cut to the chase because I think my story is something that you will all find interesting. I'm gonna give a little bit of background information and then jump into the story to make it easier to follow. I'm a former Russian national who served in the Soviet Army from 1983 up until just before the USSR collapsed. I was only 18 years of age when I joined up with the military. It had always been an aspiration of mine to serve my country due to my father being a high-ranking member of the Soviet Union Army, a rank which I think is roughly equivalent to a major general in the United States military. From a very young age, he instilled in me a great feeling of pride and patriotism for my country, and all I ever wanted to do was just to be like my father was. I fled my country after the collapse of the Soviet Union and have been living in Poland since 1991, first as an asylum seeker seeking refuge from war, until I eventually was granted a citizenship here through naturalization after living here for long enough. I changed my name, I changed my identity. There is nothing linking me to my old life or family in the Soviet Union anymore, and that's why I finally feel comfortable telling this story somewhere that people can see. Due to my father's growing influence in the military, it only took me about a year and a half, so around the beginning of 1985, for me to be moved up in the ranks and be trusted with a special assignment. My father briefed me initially, telling me it was a role of great honor and that I should feel blessed that I had been trusted with such a task. I really had no choice but to just accept it. I was assigned by the Soviet Union to be a guard at Sector 12B, a Soviet test facility that had been erected in 1969 in the border zone between the borders of Russia and Estonia. It was apparently a facility of strategic importance and was of the utmost importance that no information about the place should ever leak and that it should be protected at all costs. I think that's about all the context that you need. I'm gonna continue with the experiences I had, with possibly some context in between if needed. If you want to ask me about stuff, I will try my best to answer. Here goes. So, it was my first day being assigned to Sector 12B. I was incredibly nervous, as I had only been serving in the Soviet Union Army for around a year and a half before being given this post. My father himself personally escorts me to this facility just to show me around. I cannot express how rare and unusual this fact is. Someone of my father's rank usually would never bother escorting someone like me, regardless of family connection. We roll up to the place in a cars-like truck. My father is in the front with the driver. Me and two other soldiers are in the back. I have no idea what rank they are or if they're newly assigned, just like I am. I was taught very early on that small talk and asking questions was a one-way ticket to getting beaten or worse. We finally arrive, we get out of the truck, and I see the place for the first time. The building was a random abandoned cement factory. It looked like an absolute pile of shit, even for Soviet Union standards. The building had half-smashed windows and looked to be halfway sunken into the ground, like it was being eaten up by the earth. The area was really hot. There was a massive military presence, but it was pretty hard to spot if you didn't know where to look. My father walks way ahead of us. Me and the other soldiers from the vehicle are very awkwardly meandering at a distance behind him. The soldiers at the gate stop him. It wasn't just a show me your credentials type thing. The soldiers at the gate full on block him and push him away when he tries to walk through. My father just loses it completely. He starts going on a crazy rant at the two soldiers. Both of them are just standing there with a 1,000-yard stare, not even properly taking any notice. They still will not move. My father starts yelling out, "You know who I am," over and over again. My father hits one of them. Not a light slap or anything, a full-on powerhouse of a punch. Everyone rushes over. My father is restrained. Another officer comes walking out of the building. He isn't panicked or anything, he's just casually strolling over. He motions to his men and they let go of my father. They exchange a few words, with him motioning towards me and the other soldiers that came with us, and then the officer leads my father in. We try to follow them into the building, but once we cross the gate threshold to the outside part of the building, the officers there grab us and shout, "Hey, wait there." I've got no choice but to comply. I wait there until they are done. My father comes back out and walks straight past me. He does not say even a word to me. He just gets back into the car's and leaves. That was just my first day. It was strange to say the least. When I tell you that I did not see inside that place for months on end, I am not exaggerating. The place was locked up tight. For months, I basically have to live outside in the compound area, mainly working on guard duty and sometimes on lookout overnight. 3 weeks into my assignment is when the next weird thing happened to me. So it was late night at Sector 12B. I was on lookout duty. Technically, I'm here to stop people from crossing the border, but in actuality, I'm here to stop people from getting close to the facility. I am on very strict orders. They do not play around here. If I see anyone, I'm talking Russian, Estonian, even my own father, I am to shoot on sight unless told otherwise. No warning shots at all. It gets to around 3 a.m. I am starting to get really bored. I am struggling to keep my eyes open at this point. There are only a few of us awake, 5 at most, I believe. Outside, that is. I have no idea how many are awake inside. I am messing around with my SVD. I scratched killer into the side of it because I thought I was cool. I mean, I was still 18. I see a faint glint off in the distance. I pull out my binoculars and try and take a closer look. I'm looking pretty intently. I briefly notice a sort of light blue glow that moves out from a body of water and quickly onto the land. I pull out my rifle and I brace myself. The second that I get a clear view on this thing, I am shooting. It comes into full view, probably about 400-ish meters away from the compound. It looks to be a human, completely waterlogged with what looks like algae all over their clothes. The light blue glow is now gone. I have no idea what that was. I sound an alert and then I begin firing. 1 shot, 2 shots, 3, and then 4. But I can't hit the thing. They are running on all 4s. I manage to graze their left leg, which causes them to stumble. A huge wave of soldiers are now piling out of the inner facility at this point, shouting and screaming like someone had just declared war. The front gate soldiers are busting ass down range to flank the thing and to get a clear shot. I stop firing because I don't trust myself not to hit them accidentally. I hear 2 shots and then there is only silence. I am not supposed to, but I climb down from the watchtower and run with the other soldiers out to the body. What the fuck? I seriously could not believe my eyes at what I am seeing. The body of the thing is spasming. The eyes are completely bloodshot. The sclera looks as if it is tinted ever so slightly yellow. There are lots of weird marks on the arms of this thing, especially around the veins. I notice something sticking out of this person's wrist. I get pulled away by a few of the inner facility soldiers. I hear the commander shouting aggressively from behind my head. They have me fully restrained and have thrown me to the ground. They pull me around to see the commander, and I meet his eyes. He is beyond furious. He tells me, "Damn idiot, you want to die." That's what I hear, over and over again. He is demanding to know why I left my post, and why I am out here without being ordered to. The commander personally proceeds to beat the shit out of me. At some point, I go limp and unconscious. After that, I woke up in a holding cell inside the facility with some ice taped to my face. The holding cell was secluded from everywhere else, so I did not get a good look at the place at all. I think I was kept in there for about 3 weeks while they were conducting an investigation. They did not tell me anything, but my father's name was mentioned. About 3 days before I got released from the holding cell, one of the officers who was berated by my father came to my cell. He didn't come inside the cell. He just looked at me behind the bars for a few minutes, and then he said, "Just like them," and then spat on the floor before leaving. I guess he was convinced I was guilty of something. That was only the beginning of my complex time there. I have only a few more strange things that I can tell you about, but I will save for last the one that truly opened up my eyes and made me fear for my life and made me decide that I needed to get the hell away from that place. Fast forward to month 4 of my assignment to the place. I have been allowed inside the facility a couple of times, mainly just the top level for sleep and supplies. More on that later. My comrades still do not fully trust me, but they are coming around to accepting me being there. I have not made any friends, but there is this one guy, Alexander, who I'm familiar with, I would say. He often relieves me from watchtower duty, and if I'm lucky, will make some small talk with me if he's especially bored. Like everyone else there, he is very, very serious. It was a typical night. Nothing was going on. I was bored as usual. I have around 5 minutes left of my duty. I get to rest for 3 hours total before my next duty. Lucky me. I see Alexander making his way over. I call him Sasha every time I see him, and he gives me a death stare each and every time. So I start to climb down from my post. I hear a massive commotion coming from inside the facility. That's incredibly unusual. It's very rare that we see or hear anyone stationed inside, especially if they work in the lower levels. I assume that we are segregated from each other to stop the flow of information. Essentially, once you start working down there is where you stay. You don't ever work outside again. The sound is really loud now. I can hear screaming and the banging of something metallic. That's all we can hear. They must be pretty close to the main entrance. I'm at the bottom of the watchtower. Sasha has now made his way fully over and is staring blankly at the entrance. The entrance slams open. A squadron of 6 facility workers in a strict formation are leading someone outside. The person that they are leading outside is on a metal chain that is attached around their neck. The squadron is screaming, don't look," at all of us again and again. The person on the chain is barely being kept on their feet. They keep scrambling to try and get down on the floor. It's like they've just completely forgotten how to walk. Sasha is facing away from the entrance and at the watchtower. He is begging me to turn away. I can't. I genuinely cannot stop looking at the sight in front of me. There are tears streaming down his face. He is pleading with me. Please, friend, please. I am still looking at what is going on. I try to ask Sasha what the hell that thing is, but he just keeps choking on his words. The person has visible veins bulging on all parts of their body, mainly on their face. The veins are tinted a slightly yellowish color. They are barefoot. It looks like they have partial gangrene on both ends of their feet. Sasha grabs me and forcefully turns me around. He grabbed me by the hair and was holding my face into the ground. My mouth has dirt inside of it now. I can barely even manage to say, "Fucking bitch, get off of me," because of the way he is holding me and using all of his strength to hold me down. He tells me to shut up. I hear shouting coming from the direction of the squadron, becoming more intense. I can hear a sort of moaning or growling that's growing in intensity. I have no idea what it is. The leader of the squadron is yelling furiously now, telling some guy, "I told you to turn around." I hear a sudden gunshot. I hear a roar that sounds like it would break someone's vocal cords. It sounds raspy and full of phlegm. I hear a faint whimper before the squadron walk on out of the gate and into the forest. I only know this because I could hear the moaning growing fainter and fainter in that direction. The commander steps outside. He tells us all to get back to positions. Sasha looks beside himself. He lets go of me and very meekly climbs up the watchtower to his assignment. I rush inside to try and get as much rest as I can before my next assignment. Around 2 hours or so go by. I am still awake in the bunk. It's impossible to sleep. I could not stop thinking about what I saw. I wasn't sure if my eyes were lying to me at the time, but reflecting on it in bed made me wonder a little bit more. The guy with the chain around his neck, the yellow-tinted veins and the gangrenous feet, that was not the only things that I noticed about him. He had a scar over his stomach, like a C-section scar, but it was clearly a man. He had what looked to be frostbite on one of his hands. He had blotchy skin with solid black on the ends of the fingers. Not just that, but near the stomach scar, almost parallel vertically to his shoulder, there looked to be some kind of appendage that was attached by being stitched on. It was weird, more than weird. It was fucking crazy. No wonder they don't want any of us to see inside. I only got to interact with Sasha a handful more times after that. It's a real shame. One more notable thing happened before my last story. Not just notable, something completely out of the ordinary in regard to my duties. So, I was trying to sleep. There was still 1 hour left before guard duty. I was gonna be alone in silence for about the next 10 hours, a little ways down the road, watching for anyone trying to approach. I suddenly get a kick in the ribs. I get told to get the hell up immediately. It's an officer with a higher rank than me. He does not look pleased to see me. He tells me I have a special assignment that needs to be completed right now. I don't even think to make a case for my sleep. I did not want another kick in the ribs. I am assigned to a team with 3 other soldiers. One of them I recognize. He came with me in the Kozlik. It's me, him, 2 others I haven't seen before, and the squad leader, Mikhail. I receive a very quick briefing. We've been assigned away from the compound. Huh? There's apparently an old settlement around 10 kilometers away from Sector 12B. It's been abandoned for years. It used to be an old mining settlement. I am not sure what was being mined there. He does not tell me what we are being sent there for. He told me that we will find out once we are there. We get in the truck and drive off. It takes roughly 40 minutes for us to get there because the road is poor quality. There are potholes every few meters. I also have to be vigilant for anyone crossing or possible enemy reconnaissance. We roll up to the place. It's exactly like they said it would be, a complete and utter ghost town. We get out of the truck and line up to wait for instructions. Mikhail tells us that the water supply here is likely contaminated. We are to bring back samples for the facility to run tests on. They are apparently worried that it could spread if we do not discover the source of the contamination. We split into 2 groups of 2 while Mikhail waits at the truck. Mikhail opts for screaming orders down the radio rather than any manual labor. I am paired up with the Kozlik guy because of course I am. We venture into the town. Nothing is weird about it at all at first glance. It's really eerie and silent, but we expected that. It really bothered me for some reason, but I could not even tell you why. Most likely, I have been at the facility for so long that any silence at all now triggered alarm bells in me. We track down the water source. We follow it south to the bottom of the town down an incline. The water stops and sort of pools into a small pond outside the entrance to a mine shaft. The water does not stop there. It actually goes into the cave and the mining shaft itself through this smallish opening. I radio back what we found. I mentioned that the water looks fine from what we can tell. There are little bits of rock and dirt and what looks like some rags inside of it, but no contamination from what I can see. Well, I didn't actually know if it wasn't contaminated. I just figured it would be glowing a weird color if it was, so I don't know, maybe I really am stupid. Mikhail is hurling abuse at us. He asks us why we have not gone inside the shaft yet. I don't have a reply, so we just start to make our way inside. At this point, we are kind of wondering where the other 2 are, since the water source was not particularly difficult to find, and it didn't seem like it flowed out from anywhere else, but we assumed that maybe they headed back to the truck after we radioed into Mikhail, or maybe they did not want to bother with such a menial task at all, and decided to leave it to the newbies. Probably they thought it was beneath them. We start to make our way in. I end up leading the way for some reason. I am still not really sure what we are looking for in here. It does not look like the water runs into this part. The mine shaft is weirdly still lit up. It looks as if the mine shaft was still being used, which is very strange. The town was obviously abandoned for a long time. Maybe the result of other soldiers, I guess. We make our way further in. It goes fairly deep. We walk for a good few minutes without stopping. The further that we go down, the more faint the light is becoming. Mikhail did not give us any flashlights. I did not realize we would be exploring somewhere like this. We get to the threshold of the darkness and go to Radio Mikhail. My dumbass really thought that the radio would work down there. I tell the Kozlik guy that we should head back up and radio that we cannot go any further. As I'm talking to him and saying this, I start to hear a moaning sound. It sounds very familiar. The sound is actually moving towards us, I can make out, but it's not moving very quickly. I can hear the sound of rock and dust being kicked up. I turn to the Kozlik guy, and we both decided to run away. We make it back to the entrance and radio back into Mikhail. As soon as he hears my voice, he asks if it's in there. What? He asked me if I saw it. What the fuck are you talking about? You told me we were here for water samples. I tell him about the sounds that we heard. He starts to respond and then he just stops. He will not respond to me for the next 5 minutes until he makes it over to our location with the other 2 soldiers in tow. By the time they all made it over, this thing sounds like it's close to the entrance now. We see its arms come out into the light first, followed by its body and then its legs. It's a human, thank God. But maybe I spoke too soon. The guy looks absolutely messed up. The skin is peeling all over the face and the arms. There are just thick layers of the skin hanging off the body, which is highlighted by the harsh sunlight. His face is completely mutilated. His nose is just gone from his face. There is only a gaping hole where his nose should be. His mouth is odd. It looks much bigger than it should be. Maybe 3 times the size of a normal mouth. His lips are blue, and they look like they're throbbing. His ears are completely missing the earlobes, and they have random bits of skin dropping off of them. The dude is just walking ever so slowly on all 4s, not really paying any attention to any of us. He's moving towards us, but it's like he doesn't even really realize that we're here. Before I can ask Mikhail what the hell is going on, he speaks up and says, "Lazy bitch." He unleashes a full mag from his Kalashnikov into both the head and the heart of the guy. After the firing stops, the guy kind of takes one more step, if you can even call it that, and then slumps down to the floor and starts to just spasm. Mikhail asks us if he has to do everything himself. I ask him what the hell is going on, what the thing is, why we are here. But he just hits me with the butt of his Kalashnikov, knocking me to the ground. I yell out in pain and he hits me a few more times in the head and then kicks me a few times in the body. He tells me that it's none of my business and to just shut up and follow orders. He orders the other 2 soldiers into the truck. He tells the Kozlik guy to take that water sample that they were after. He hands him a vial, and then he walks over to the stream. Mikhail puts a bullet into him, which causes him to fall into the water. I can barely muffle my scream when I see it happen. He spits on me and tells me that I'm lucky. He tells me that they still have a use for me. He says I am lucky that my father is who he is. He tells me to forget what I saw or I will die very soon. Still to this day, I have no idea why he did not kill me. The other 2 soldiers must have been here for a long time and were trusted to keep the secret, I guess. Not that I had any idea what I even saw anyway. There wasn't exactly much I could tell people. My guess is that me and the Kozlik guy were being used as bait, but then, I don't know. Maybe someone informed Mikhail that he took the wrong guy and was on strict orders not to kill me. Maybe he just took the first 2 new guys he could say, and that's why there was a mix-up. I only have one more incident to tell you about in my time there. It's one that I still cannot fully understand, and it's possible that I never ever will. So, it was the beginning of 1986. I have been at the facility for around a year at this point. I get brought in from my duties pretty early, and I'm put in front of the commander. He tells me that I have a very important assignment. He says they've been gauging my level of patriotism and concluded that I qualify for this assignment. He tells me that I will be working guard duty in the lower levels of Sector 12B. It is finally time. When I first got here, this would have filled me with excitement. Now, I'm just hoping that I don't fuck anything up and make it through unscathed. I am escorted down there by some unfamiliar soldiers. I'm guessing they were posted at lower levels and that's why. They lead me down a disgusting stairwell. It smells like shit mixed with chemicals. The stairwell was actually crumbling in places. We reach the bottom and they take me down a corridor where we reach a dead end. They open up a hatch in the floor. There was this old style ladder attached to the wall like you would see in a sewer. They jab me in the back, signaling for me to go down first. I am saying a prayer inside my head at this point. I'm thinking back to what Mikhail said and hoping that I am not about to die for what I saw. The soldiers do not come down after me. They tell me to just walk forward. I walk through some tunnels that winded but only went in one direction without any split paths. I reach a bulkhead door. I have no idea what to do, so I just knock on it. An alarm starts going off. The whole entire place just turns red. Oh shit. The bulkhead does not open. The camera in the corner lights up. I hear screaming coming from a tenoi in the corner, telling me to kneel and put my hands behind my head if I do not want to die right now. I comply as quickly as I can. A group of soldiers funnel out and restrain and blindfold me. After a while of this, of being pushed and shoved along, I finally have my blindfold taken off. When I can finally see, I realize I'm in a corridor looking into a room with a glass window. There is lots of equipment set up in there, medical equipment. I have no idea what half of it is for. I only get one single instruction the entire time I am in these lower levels. Stand in the corner, do not move. If the patient moves, you shoot. I have no idea what the hell this means or what it's for. I don't say this out loud, of course. I was stationed in that room for a total of 5 hours. I was to look straight ahead, say nothing, make no noise, and ignore everything that was going on unless I had to take action. This was not a regular patient at all. The guy definitely looked Russian. That's probably all I could tell you about him before the surgery started. I will tell you what happened now. So, this guy is wheeled in while on a bed. He has so many straps holding him down. He has straps on his head, his arms, and his legs. He is completely passed out. 3 men in surgical gear walk in. They ignore me completely. I expected that. I ignore them too, as best as I can anyway. It is an agonizing 5 hours. They make incisions in the patient. I have no idea what for. A little while into this, they inject the patient with something. I am trying my hardest to look without looking. The needle looks to be filled with something that's black. Just black, nothing else. After they inject the patient, they wait for around 15 minutes, just checking the guy's vitals. After the time is up, they start making more cuts. 1 incision below the eye, 1 just above the left bicep. They are looking at each other and nodding. They start to make a massive incision around the abdomen area, almost the whole way across. The guy on the table starts to twitch. I start to get really nervous seeing this. I cannot completely see what they are doing, as I am trying to only look out of my peripheral vision, and I am on the left side of the room. The three are crowded around him slightly, so I can basically only see half of the body. It looks like they're just stitching him up. They inject him several more times with what looks like the same substance as before, just completely black. The guy twitches again, then his eyes just shoot open. I hesitate in my head for a second, but then I start to point my gun. One of the guys in surgical gear puts up his hand towards me without even looking my way. He tells me no, not yet. He needs 5 more minutes. I begin to speak, but he cuts me off. I don't care about your orders. I have mine, he says. I reluctantly decide to leave him be. The straps look safe enough, but if he moves another time, I will shoot. I am not going to risk my own life just for this guy. If I don't follow my orders down here, who knows what will happen. All of them start to take a step back. They are now well into my eye line. I just turn around and watch too. They don't seem to care. The guy on the table is absolutely writhing. The skin in his wrists is bulging. It looks like the lumps are traveling up his arms. His veins are becoming more and more visible and are starting to tint yellow. He is pulling violently against the restraints. The whole table is rocking back and forth. I go to shoot. The surgeon begs me for 1 more minute. I tell him no. I cannot risk anything more happening. The guy actually stands in front of me. He keeps stepping in front of me and blocking my gun. While we're doing this stupid dance, the straps holding down the man's head suddenly snaps, and the man raises his head slightly and looks directly at us. He is straining against the neck strap to keep his head in position. He looks furious. His eyes go from blue to bloodshot and then start to yellow ever so slightly. The surgeon moves out of the way now. He tells me that I can go ahead. I raise my gun at the man on the table. He smiles. I fire 5 bullets directly into his head as the alarm is raised and the facility is put onto high alert. Soldiers flood in, and I am restrained and blindfolded again. I hear whispering between the surgeons and the soldiers as I am dragged off, but I cannot make out what they are saying. I am dragged all the way back and hoisted up the ladder and put into a holding cell once again. After this, I was spoken to by the commander. It was the most uncomfortable talk of my life, even though I did not say a single word. He never raised his voice, never changed his tone, but I could feel the absolute malice behind his words. I stayed in that cell for a month until I was transferred to my father's branch. He told me that he begged them for a month straight. He made any promises that he could to get me out of there. What these promises were, I do not know. I wasn't really the same after that. I did not really climb the ranks all that much. I just kind of coasted along. My father bailed me out a lot. I started treating people in the army differently, like they weren't human, civilians too. I lashed out, I got angry, I abused my fellow soldiers. Then one day, something just snapped inside of me, and I fled over the border during a mission. I guess I was presumed dead. Maybe they thought I killed myself. As far as I know, they abandoned that facility sometime after I left, but I'm not exactly sure when. It could be months or years for all I know. The Estonian army were rumored to have taken control of it after it was abandoned after the collapse, but I'm not sure what came of that. I tried to stay informed, but without my old connections, there really is not much else I could learn to tell you.